Hello, everyone, and welcome to BodyBags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tats, and you already know that if you've been watching the videos this week, we're doing a theme week, and the idea came from Chris of cheap incarnational horror films, and I have to admit that was a really good idea. I wish I had been able to think of that, but yeah, so been fun watching the videos this week, and the one that I came up with, if there's anything that you could definitely get like good cheap incarnational movies off of, is definitely the old classic monster movies: Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy, all that kind of stuff. I mean, come on, you just you know throw a coin, you could hit any of them. So the one that I decided to go with was you know since I reviewed Andy Warhol's Dracula, aka Blood for Dracula, I decided I'll go ahead and do 1973's Flesh for Frankenstein, which also is known as Andy Warhol's Frankenstein, and the other one is Frankenstein 3D. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Okay, she's covered there for a second, so I was like, wait a minute. Uh-oh. But yeah, so this one here, the way I understand it is that Paul Morrissey, he, was able to get the financing to make this movie, and so he went to Italy to make this film. And while he was making this film, uh, like there wasn't really a script. Like he was trying to do like more, improvisation and stuff, but it wasn't always working. So like day to day, he was kind of like, every day he would kind of like write up, what, like the characters were going to do or what they were going to say, things like that. And then he would give it to the actors. And then pretty much as soon as he got done with this one, he turned right around and went into the Blood for Dracula. So it was almost like making those movies back to back. So anyway, this movie, it's a lot of fun. I remember. Oh man, I remember like back in the old days. Like I do you remember like used to? I think it was USA. I want to say it was USA. Remember they, or maybe it was TBS. I don't know. Remember they used to have night flicks, and and then they had night flicks, and then they had like night tracks. Night tracks was when they would play like music videos and stuff like that, and night flicks was when they would play like all just different kinds of movies, horror films, sci-fi, exploitation, action movies, things like that. Um, and I remember being a little kid and watching this, on that, and I had no idea. That was the funny part, is I had no idea what this movie really was. I just figured it was a Hammer. Or it was like it wasn't a Hammer Dracula movie or Frankenstein movie. I just figured it was something like Hammer, and it was just surprising to see like how much was cut out. And then years later, when I finally sat down and watched it, complete and uncut and uncensored and everything else, boy, was it a surprise. But just I always enjoyed this movie. It's a lot of fun and it's funny, and there are moments. That's kind of the only thing though. Is like I don't know if it's intentionally or unintentionally funny, but there are times like yes, it is. It's just funny. The story is pretty simple. Uh, you have the Baron Frankenstein, played by Udo Kier, and he played Doctor Frankenstein in this. He would then go on and play Dracula in Blood for Dracula. So he plays Doctor Frankenstein, and you know he's working on building both a male and a female. Uh, you get the idea, as Frankenstein and stuff. And oh, okay, for a second there, I was like, was that what I thought it was? Okay, but anyway, so the idea is he wants to pretty much create like a superior kind of like master race for Serbia, and he's created the male, he's created the female, but the problem is he needs the head and the brain of a man with a very strong libido, because he wants these two to procreate. And the idea is that their offspring would become the superior race and things like this. And so what ends up happening is he and his assistant Otto. It's funny, it's like you're used to Otto is his is minion, or what do you call assistant or whatever, hunt, not hunchback, but you know, we're used to like Igor, or like in the original Frankenstein, his name is Fritz, but in this one his name's Otto. So they go out and they're looking around, and meanwhile you have two friends. You have Nicholas, played by Joe Dallesandro, and his friend Sasha. And Nicholas is all about he loves spending his time being hanging out at a brothel and having a good time with the ladies and things like this, whereas Sasha is not interested in that. He's pretty much devoted his life to a life of celibacy. He wants to become a monk and everything else. And so it's like at one point Nicholas takes Sasha to the he takes him to the brothel and everything to try to see if he can maybe get his friend to sow some wild oats and things like this. And they go to this brothel, and through a mistake, Sasha comes out, and he comes out the door, and Baron Frankenstein and Otto, they see him come out, and Frankenstein mistakes that Sasha is in there, and he's like, oh my God, this man has such a strong libido and everything else. He can take on two women at one time and all this other kind. Even though like Sasha's not doing anything with the women, it's Nicholas who's in there doing stuff with the ladies. And so Sasha leaves, and as he's walking along, Baron Frankenstein comes up and decapitates him and takes his head. And so it turns out that Baron Frankenstein, he's married to his wife slash sister. So yeah, this movie was pretty controversial. As a matter of fact, it was on the video nasties list. And so yeah, so you get the hint of incest in this movie, that Baron Frankenstein is married to his sister, and they have two children, a boy and a girl. And I think Katrine, I think that's how you pronounce her. So she's out riding one day with the kids, and she comes across, Nicholas, who's having a little tryst with a woman, with a local girl and everything, and so she demands that he goes and sees her. And so when he goes to see her, she basically seduces him, and at first he's upset because of, because Sasha was found decapitated and things like this. And so, he's talking about leaving, but she's able to seduce him, and basically she makes him become her, like his real job is to basically be her lover. But, the thing is because she's married, and she, to not arouse suspicion, that he wants to, or she wants to make it look like he's just a new servant that was hired to, like do things around the castle and serve them, and do like like odd jobs and things that need to be done, but really his job is basically to be her lover. So and so meanwhile, Baron Frankenstein, he's he takes the head of Sasha, puts it on his male creature, and then when everything is like ready to go, and he's hoping the two of them will mate, and then come to realize like nothing is happening, and he's Baron Frankenstein's like trying to figure out what's wrong, and it's like, why won't these two mate and everything, because it's Sasha, and Sasha, he's not interested in sex. He does not want to have sex or anything like that. He does, he is planning to be a monk and everything. He's celibate and everything. So, and then I don't want to give too much more away, but eventually, like with Nicholas working in the castle, he does find out about what happens to Sasha, and he wants to try to get to the bottom of this. And he wants to get Katrine to help him, but she's kind of just more about just she's kind of more being selfish, and just mostly just wants to satisfy her own desires and things like this. And just all this stuff comes to to just kind of everybody's undoing and everything else. And I don't really want to give too much more away. Excuse me, but yeah, then it's about basically Nicholas like trying to uncover the mystery about what happened to Sasha, and see if he can maybe help Sasha in some way, and to stop Frankenstein before Frankenstein unleashes his evil plan on the world and everything else. So I'm going to just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. We won't go anymore. But yeah, this movie, it's a lot of fun. There are moments, like I said, I think there are moments it's intentionally funny, but then there are moments it's unintentionally funny. You get some very, very funny lines in here. Like at one point, I'm trying not to get too graphic, but at one point, Baron Frankenstein, he has the female creature, on the gurney and or the operating table, and so he snips the wound, or, the stitched up kind of thing on her abdomen, and then he basically has sex with it, and then when he gets done, he says, this is a hell of a line. He's like, auto to no death, you must fuck life in the gallbladder. You get great lines like that. But the one part that just really made me howl whenever I watch this is it's the funniest thing ever. It's like there's a scene where, Katrine is, she's in bed, she's settling in for the night, and Nicholas, Joe Dallesandro comes in, he's naked, and all this kind of stuff, and he lays on the bed, and they're like starting to get into it, and she's like kissing him and all this kind of stuff, and it's like the sound effects is the funniest thing ever. She just like, you say, I'm not even joking, man. It's like, you watch that scene, it's the most hilarious thing. She's like, and she's supposed to be kissing him and all that kind of stuff, but it's the funniest thing, man. Oh God, it cracks me up every time I see it. You do, the 3D, it's a lot of fun to watch, it's like this, I got this. This is the 4K and the Blu-ray, and I remember that this came, it was like the 4K was, the 4K, there was an issue with it, and it's like, even I could tell. It's like when I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, the 4K on this does not look good. And eventually I did get my replacement from Vinegar Syndrome, and the 4K was a lot better. But yeah, this one here is the 4K and the Blu-ray. This one here is the 3D Blu-ray, and this is a lot of fun. I did put this on and watch it on my TV and on 3D, and use the glasses and turn the lights off and everything. This is a lot of fun. You do get quite a bit of gore, a lot of like people getting impaled and like dangly bits, and I think it's like a Baron Frankenstein, like sorry, a spoiler, but I think like he gets run through. I think it's like his liver hanging on, and then you see like lungs, which I think they said were supposed to be like pig lungs or animal lungs, I forget, but this thing is a lot of fun, and if you could get it, I definitely recommend it. The 3D is probably the best way to go, but this film it's a hoot, and like I said, it's definitely, do not go into this expecting high grade acting. This is not going to compare to the Branagh Frankenstein. I can promise you that. But visually, it's a very nice looking film. It's beautifully shot. The cinematography is good and everything. It is stylistically, it is a beautifully made film. It's just in terms of the acting and some of the character motivation and things like this, it's just, like I said, it just comes off as really, really goofy at times. But I think I've said just about everything I could say about this. But yeah, Flesh for Frankenstein, it really is. It's a lot of fun. And, Frankenstein 3D or Andy Warhol. Yeah, no, it doesn't say it on here. I thought I was going to say it. But so Andy Warhol's Frankenstein, I definitely recommend this. This movie is a ton of fun. So that's it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I also hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, would you please leave it a like? If you haven't already, would you please go and subscribe to the BodyBags channel? We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I'm the Saturday reviewer. We have a great bunch of guys. Everybody's doing fantastic stuff. We have more fun theme weeks and label weeks and year weeks and all that kind of stuff. And I'm happy. I'm getting ready to, start doing a deep dive into a lot of the films of Boris Karloff, movies that, a lot of people don't really talk about much, so I'm looking forward to reviewing some of those and more fun stuff coming. So that's it, everybody. Take care. Have a good night, and I'll see you later.